But first, we've talked about it quite a lot, but God of War Ragnarok is out now. It's a PS exclusive, out on PS5 and PS4. Let's check out the trailer.
Time is running out. The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming.
You don't really want war. All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands.
Fate only binds you if you let it. We will make our own destiny.
There we go. We've spoken about it so much and it's so good. It's finally out. And I've actually joined with a great guest today. We've got Ben Rayner, who is a gaming reviewer and journalist. It's great to have you, Ben. You've already, of course, reviewed the game. So have you been enjoying it so far?
Yeah, thoroughly been absorbed a bit. I kind of planned through the main story kind of as quick as I could, and I've just been spending more hours going backwards, just trying to get every other little bit I can just to take out all the story. It's been phenomenal.
Absolutely. So how long has it taken you to kind of get through the main story and also some extra bits you've been doing as well? How many hours have you spent so far?
So I'm on about 40 hours at the moment. That's with me kind of going back now to mop up all the side things. But the story-wise, it's pretty lengthy. You can kind of get through it in about 25 to 30 hours, depending how adamant you are to race through. But the way it's laid out, the way it kind of encourages you to just naturally do the extra stuff, it would be a shame to kind of rush through. So anyone who's playing it, just definitely take your time, leisurely go through, explore everything, because there's just so much to see.
Absolutely, and of course you reviewed it for Digital Spy, which is great. So what do you think this game kind of differs? How does it differ from the previous God of War games, do you think?
So in completely not a negative way, it's kind of more of the same, but really amped up. I think the 2018 game, it was a really good kind of cinematic reinvention of the franchise. It had this really interesting look at fatherhood and kind of brought in that really unique Norse mythology angle. And Ragnarok kind of really dials that up, and it's kind of like watching a really great HBO show with really amazing action kind of in between the story beats. I mean, every time Christopher Judge talks, obviously it's amazing, but Richard Schiff as Odin's just stunning. Every time he's on the screen, you just want to see more.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned as well, like watching the HBO series. I mean, the graphics are absolutely incredible. I mean, even from the trailer, you can just see how incredible these graphics are. Because I think with these games, it is interesting to see how they go graphics-wise and things. Were you quite impressed by visually how it looked?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the first games on the PS5 for me that made me really grateful I got my hands on one. It's like I could really see the jump, and I think some fans might initially, when you first kind of see the new game, you think, oh, it doesn't look too different. But if you actually take the time to go back and compare the two, it's just light years apart. It's amazing the work they've done.
Sometimes you have to see it side by side, don't you, to just see the little inkling there, little slight difference.
Yeah. All those extra pores of skin, the Kratos marks.
You know what's going on. So how does the story kind of follow on from the 2018 God of War?
So without going into too much spoiler territory, because obviously it's such a good story, I kind of don't want to ruin that for anyone. Essentially, we pick up a short while kind of after the first one, and we can see the effects of what we've done. Fimbulwinter's kicked in. We're seeing kind of essentially their kind of global warming. There's snow where there shouldn't be. There's sun where there shouldn't be. Everything's kind of it's a bit off kilter. And on top of that, Freya is livid because you obviously killed her son and she wants revenge. So there's kind of this, we need to kind of fix what we've done and get to safety element that kind of kicks it off. And then from there, everything just kind of tumbles through.
Amazing. I mean, have you noticed any difference in sort of gameplay? Are there any different ways that you have to kind of go through the game and the combat and that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. So the combat, they've really kind of, I think they've listened to fan feedback. There was a lot of kind of things of, there wasn't much enemy variety. There was only one kind of finisher that was put across, but now there's just so much more to deal with. There's so many different enemy types. Again, not spoiling too much, but there's a lot of kind of new attacks and things like that that will really open up the game, and again, kind of feeds into that, how they want to naturally get you to explore the world. There'll be loads of areas you'll think, oh, maybe I'll come back to that later, and you'll be really glad you did once you unlock certain things. And yeah, it's just so much more. They've definitely taken 2018 as a blueprint and thought, okay, right, let's just triple this and just go ham and just get as much as we can.
That's the best thing. The best thing about these games, like you said, you can play it again because there's things to unlock, there's things to find all over the world. You have to just go and really kind of dig around, don't you, and stuff. I think that's what makes it.
Yeah, and there's just so many great characters to bump into. Like Ratatasker, the squirrel, is just amazing.
I'm sold on that alone. That sounds great. So in terms of playing it on PS4 and playing on PS5, do you think there's much difference there? I mean, obviously PS5 is the next gen console, it's always going to be slightly more, the resolution's going to be a little bit higher, and the frames per second and all that kind of stuff. But do you think it differs too much?
I think that the core experience is going to be the same. My understanding experience with it is you'll notice the difference with certain bits of fidelity, and obviously the PS5 is going to really easily push the 60 FPS, whereas I imagine if it's anything like my PS4, it might sound like a jet engine going off if you try and force that. But I think the core experience will be the same. So if you haven't got a PS5, it's still completely worth getting on a PS4 just to experience the story.
Absolutely. I mean, is there anything at all? I mean, you've given it such a great review so far. Is there anything that you think could be improved? Are there anything you think, oh, actually, maybe they could have done this a bit better? Or is it just like, no, it's a flawless game?
There's always little niggles every now and then, it kind of in the heat of it you can pull out. And I think kind of like the biggest one, which I've kind of gone over before, was the compass is a little bit funny in the way they designed it, rather than kind of like going in one direction. It's trying to kind of navigate you piece by piece. So it means in real terms, you're just kind of watching it ping backwards and forwards across the screen. So you end up using the map a lot more. But just because of the way it kind of makes you play and explore everything, it's not really that big an issue. Like, it can be an annoying niggle, but that would be me nitpicking, basically. Beyond that, I kind of think for what it does, it's just, it's a perfect experience.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, fans have been absolutely dying to play this as well. I mean, it's been a long time in the running, hasn't it? And everyone's been like waiting for it and stuff. Do you think fans are gonna love this game more than the 2018 God of War? What do you think is gonna be the vibes?
I think so. It's going to be an easy recommend if you liked the 2018 one. You will love this. But I even think fans gamers who didn't play the 2018 version could quite easily jump in here. And I think there's enough context that this could be your jumping off point, and you'll just love it.
Did you see some of the run up to it as well? Did you see the marketing campaigns that they had as well with Ben Stiller and stuff? What did you think?
Ben Stiller advert, the best.
Yeah, it's so good. Right?
Yeah, so good.
Literally. I mean, did you see that coming? Because it was so bizarre having LeBron James in there as well. I mean, it was such. But it was. I think as a marketing ploy, I think it was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, flawless. And yeah, I had no idea that was coming until I saw it on Twitter. I was like, what is this? And then saw the memes coming afterwards. Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely, it's so fun. And what do you think? Do you think this is going to be Game of the Year? Do you think it's going to take that top spot? I mean, we're coming to the end of the quarter, I know, but do you think it's going to claim that?
It's going to be a tough spot. I think it could quite easily get there, but it's going to have a tough fight with Elden Ring, which is kind of a lot of people's Game of the Year. I know it's going to have a similar thing, so it'll be a tough fight, but if it did win, I'd be more than happy. It deserves it.
Absolutely. And what do you think is the future of God of War? Where do you think it's going to go to next?
See, I'm not 100. I don't want to, again, I don't want to spoil the ending or anything. But I think this is kind of this is a very good closing chapter. So they could quite easily leave it here. But I'd love to see a spin-off, especially about the dwarves, and just see a bit more about them and their history. That'd be great.
Absolutely. And hopefully, maybe there might be some TV adaptations. I think because, like you said, it does look like a HBO kind of feel. I wonder if there's room for maybe some adaptations going on somewhere.
There definitely could be, and I mean the cast they've got in the game. If we could just get them just to do the show, that'd be amazing. I'd love to see Christopher Judge back on TV painted up as Kratos. That'd be stunning. I'd love it.
Absolutely. So in terms of playing it yourself, is there anything that you think you've missed? Like, are you going to play again? And would you play the story again? Is it a story that you can play twice, do you think?
I think so, because as you're playing through it the first time, you obviously have quite a kind of, you've got one essential view of what's going on. And then once you get near the end, you can kind of, okay, maybe I can see this from a different angle and go back, play again and get a bit more out of it that way, which is quite nice. And there's just so much lore to the world they've built. There's just so much to find and kind of read and expand upon that there's just so much room where they could take that anywhere, essentially. And yeah, definitely worth a second playthrough.
Absolutely. Do you prefer the new, or you are more a fan of the old games? What's your vibe? I mean, obviously, the old games are always going to have a place in your heart, aren't they? But,
Yeah, the old games are classics that I hold dear. The PSP Chains of Olympus one, which is something I remember playing a lot on the bus. So I love them, but I kind of feel like those were the very video games. Everything was over the top, whereas this one, I kind of think they've really struck the balance with kind of having the kind of adult story, but still those really bombastic moments that don't feel too silly, sort of thing. So it all kind of ties really nicely. So I think I'm tipping more towards the new ones now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm playing on a PSP as well. I mean, kind of going from that experience to this kind of full-blown experience is a completely different thing. That's absolutely. So where can we find your interview and your review of the game? So
if you head over to digitalspy.com, my review will be on there, along with a few other game reviews and kind of anything covering TV, movies. There's a lot on there worth reading.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show. And you've made me want to play it. So I'm going to go home and probably give it a go. So thank you so much. And I'm so glad. Thank you for your wonderful review of the game as well. It's been great to hear your insight.
No problem.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.